Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this exciting panel discussion where we dive into the evolving world of packaging, exploring innovation, sustainability, and the future of this critical industry. Today, we're privileged to have an esteemed lineup of panelists with us who bring diverse perspective and immense expertise in packaging across various sectors. We come from different backgrounds. We have Akshat with us, who's a consumer brand owner. I'm from the branding world, and we have the rest from the technical packaging industry who are going to share their views on this. Let me introduce the panelists. We have Siddharth Banerjee, who's the DGM and of packaging and sourcing at Godrej Consumer Products. We have Mr. Sameer Udani, who is the packaging lead at Kimberly Clark. Mr. Manjunath Nadella, the Assistant Vice President and Head of Packaging Development at Strides Pharma. Mr. Soumyanath Mishra, AVP and Head Packaging Development at Mankind Pharma. Akshat Jain, founder and CEO of Vegan Day. Pradeep Som, Head of Packaging Development at AccuLife Healthcare. Together, they represent a spectrum of industries and expertise. We look forward to a dynamic discussion with them. To set the tone for our discussion, let's begin by exploring the current landscape of packaging. Each of you comes with a different, distinct background. Could you briefly share your perspective on the most significant trend or challenges in packaging today and what you're facing in each industry? Can we start with Akshat, as that's a different perspective, and then go along?
Hi, is it working? Hi. Hi, everyone. First, thanks for having me here. Um, because I come from a plant-based world, I'll just take a minute to explain what I do, what the company does, and then I'll come to the packaging question as well. So, for folks in the audience, you may have heard of non-vegetarian and vegetarian, and there's a new concept called vegan, which is take first three alphabets from vegetarian, so veg, and last two alphabets from vegetarian, so AN, so that's vegan. And the concept is whatever does not come from animal products is vegan. So it's kind of vegetarian except for all dairy and no silk and no leather, all of that. At Vegan Day, what we do is we manufacture and sell plant-based milks, and we have come up with a new technology where the idea is to replicate the taste, smell, and functionality of dairy milk while also keeping the prices as low as possible. Um, and lastly, in terms of your question, um, I think it's a very interesting point that we faced because if you go on Amazon right now and if you search for any plant-based milk like oat milk or almond milk, you'll see the prices would be 200 rupees per liter or more. And if you compare that with dairy, dairy is approximately, always less than 100 rupees more or less. It ranges from 60 to 100 depending upon the different brands across the country. And we thought that if we actually want to go mass, like all my peers here, we are a startup, then we'll have to match the price in order to be more accessible while maintaining the, taste and quality. So packaging came to the rescue in our end, and because our innovation was, okay, what if we remove water from the equation? And the concept is in plant-based milks, let's say almond milk or cashew milk or oat milk, 90% of that is water anyway. And only 10% is the actual concentrate. So we thought, okay, just like milk powder as equivalent, if we just, manufacture a concentrate in which the end person, it can be a business or a consumer at their home in any kitchen, if you add water at the end, and you blend it for a minute, and if the result is even better than all existing plant-based milks out there and very close to dairy, um, then that will be great. So that was the forcing function for us because it was the packaging and the reduction and removal of water from the system that reduced the packaging by 10x because 90% water. It reduced the logistic cost by 10x, and that actually made it happen. And we applied for patent as well because nobody's kind of doing that in the world. And I'll just I'll show something very interesting. So this is kind of a glass of milk here. So I think I think I've covered everything. I'll just probably briefly speak about myself as well for a minute. I did engineering from IIT Bombay, and then I went into finance world, like most engineers end up in finance. Got a lot of taunts from the world that you do engineering, but you end up not doing engineering. So finally, I'm back in a field and innovating and doing engineering again. Thanks.
Super. Thank you so much. That was really enlightening because I hadn't seen this before either. That can we go?
Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm Siddharth. I manage sourcing for Godrej Consumer Products. We are into home care and personal care business, primarily into the household insecticide and personal care space. The common challenges which we face in managing circularity in packaging is basically managing the demand supply gap. So basically we have the government regulations which are enforcing certain minimum percentage requirements in rigid packaging and flexible packaging. And the supply side is yet to be developed to the scale that it can fulfill those requirements. So like I can see PET is quite very well developed in the supply chain side because it was already there already used in the textile industry as flakes. So PET recycling is already established in the system, whereas other materials like HDP, PP is yet to be developed. So that ecosystem has yet to be developed. So generally when we have to incorporate circular materials like PP or HDP in our packaging materials, we generally find this gap between getting the right quality of resins for our products. So here I can say that rPET is definitely the future for circularity because it is the only material which is available in a large scale, whereas HDP is very constrained in supply. So this is one aspect of it. Other aspect is that when we have to meet such requirements of circularity, we also have to see on down gauging. So a lot of our rigid packaging, we had to transition to flexible packaging so as to reduce weight and optimize on cost. And when we go to the flexible packaging space, we are again constrained with adding the recycled material. So generally these are the challenges FMCG sector experiences when he gets into the circular packaging portfolio. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you so much for that. Can we move to Samir?
Hi, myself Samir Udane, and I'm currently leading the packaging development function for Asia, that is India and Southeast Asia at Kimberly Clark. So in terms of trends in packaging, I can say for FMCG, it's right now it is sustainability packaging is current trend, wherein more and more people wanted to make their packaging more sustainable. So the current trend in the packaging is that we are just trying to convert the structure which was non-recyclable to recyclable 100% recyclable structure, which can allow then easily recyclability. Second trends I can say is that in industry right now is more and more people are started using the recycled content in the packaging. Earlier, if you ask me 4 to 5 years back, this was topic of just discussion, but from last 2-3 years, this has picked up a lot, and lot many converters, brand owners are coming with recycled content packaging right from 10 to 20%, 30%. And going forward, this trend will continue because with the new regulation of the EPR, which says that you should have minimum recycled content in your packaging, otherwise there will be some fine. So there is a huge increase for recycled content kind of packaging. Other parts I can say is that the EPR also is a good trend right now is going on. So all FMCG are complying with the EPR, and because of that, I think more and more waste plastics are getting collected and getting recycled. In terms of the innovation, I think I can say we see good development in terms of AR and all. augmented reality. So we, a lot of people are coming as innovation for explaining the product information or QR code and all for tracking of the packaging. That is good innovation which is right now ongoing. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for that. It's become a world discussion on whether sustainability is sustainable, and we'll get deeper into that as we go. Mr. Pradeep.
So good morning or So myself Pradeep Som, and I am now presently heading Equilife Healthcare, that is completely injectable formulations. We are in the pharmaceutical business. So when it's coming to the circularity of the material, or we are bit up conservative side. Why this pharmaceutical industry is being a conservative side? It's mainly due to one part is regulation. The regulatory bodies is certainly need to be open up with this using of this recyclable material or circularity of the material. Another part is obviously so needs of that is some types of incentivize whoever is using this recyclable material or something. So scope of this previously, maybe 2-3 years back, we just heard about this using of this recycled matter, how we can help in this category. So, but nowadays it's we are also trying to innovate the designing of the product with monopolymer where it is necessary. But as a pharmaceutical product, so it is very necessary for this. There is different characterization is required, like oxygen permeability, moisture permeability, all these things. When it's come into the picture, so monopolymer using is also being a challenge. So on that perspective, we can design that our packaging, because most of the packaging, if you see where there may be over-engineering has been done, where we can minimize the using of the packing material, we can minimize the printing matter, where this reduce the carbon footprint, as well as in some countries, we are going to introduce like this type of whichever the plant base which we are using, like PIL, the most paper we are using in for information to the healthcare. So that is somewhat we are trying to introduce like some digital form like QR code or some other way to make them educate and to come to the pharmaceutical industries in this circularity movement to be a part of this using of this recyclable matter.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manjunath. And if you could shine some light on exports, since that's your space.
Yeah, thank you. Great afternoon, everyone. Manjunath here. I'm having close to 2 decades of pharmaceutical packaging experience. So by that, I'm from packaging domain. And so I have complete experience into pharma industry. So starting working from various generic companies. So being from generic company, yeah, the challenges, post-COVID. So everyone might be knowing that the cost factor always comes to picture, right? So every generic company is facing this factor because the prices has been dropped down by every regulatory market across the globe because of the price competition. So these are where all major pharma companies are facing to reduce the cost of the product, either from formulation or the process or on the packaging. So when coming to packaging, because since we are exporting to all regulatory markets across the globe, so more than 130, 140 countries, so where you cannot design packaging as per your requirement. So always the regulations, guidelines always needs to be considered. That's how the major challenge comes in, where we are forced to reduce the cost. So that's how the cost improvement programs, optimization activities on reducing cost of packaging, reducing the packaging material utilization on the for the product as well as on the process. So this is how the generic companies are facing issues in reducing the cost, overall cost of the product. So whereas apart from that, again, the sustainability is one thing which last few years is a discussion topic across the globe, where that itself again putting a pressure on pharma packaging. So how to reduce the cost? So see, what I feel, cost plus sustainability, these both are no equally important when coming to cost to reduce the carbon footprint. Yeah, so if you see, no, in all the packs, the saleable packs, either maybe a bottle pack or no, a blister pack into a carton. So you use paper-based products like cardboard or paper. In order to produce 1 ton of paper, at least 10,000 to 15,000 trees needs to be cut. So can you imagine the impact of carbon footprint? So that's how, yeah, so our colleagues clearly mentioned about, QR codes. So electronic methodology, bringing technology, leveraging technology into packaging plays a vital role here. So you can replace the paper-based literatures or medication guides or some sort of patient information leaflets can be replaced from paper to QR codes. You can eliminate 100% consumption of paper. That is one way of putting a QR code on your package. A doctor or customer can scan QR code. They can easily access the digital form of literature. In that way, the QR codes plays a major role there. And when coming to the packaging, right? So how to reduce the cost? So by adhering the regulations, by bringing guidelines into picture, and we need to reduce the cost. That's how what we initiated various projects, bringing the right design approach. So whenever you design a packaging, so bringing right design approach is something where reducing gaps inside your package, reducing headspace into a bottle, reducing GSM of your cardboard or plastic, reducing thickness of the plastic, reducing plastic. These are the various factors, right? And introducing the optimization process in the shop floor, wherever there's the possibility, bringing automation into it. So these are the various factors which every generic company is working towards reducing cost, not only for the packaging, for the overall cost of the product. So there are some examples which thought of putting to the forum. Thank you.
Super. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Soumyanath.
This is Somnath Mishra. I am in Mankind Pharmaceuticals, looking after entire packaging and innovation on that. So the Mankind is basically working in the both FMCG and pharmaceuticals product, nutraceutical product. So I'll divide into two categories in the pharmaceutical. Again, I divide pharmaceutical into two categories, in the domestic as well as the US product. So if you think about the regulation, it's completely different for the Indian market as well as the US market. So somewhere you have to be very compromised in the cost. For US market, you have to be, although you want to reduce the cost, but there is a certain regulatory challenge. That to overcome this regulatory challenge, you cannot reduce the cost. Then you have to think about, product cost you cannot reduce. Then it's come to the packaging cost, how to reduce the packaging cost. Then there is there is a two kind of development. One is graphical development, one is structural development. So the innovation is the first factor, digitalization is the second factor, automation is the third factor. These are the three factors we have to work together to reduce the cost of the packaging material.
Super. Thank you so much. I was discussing design and packaging with the entire panel, and I'll address this to Mr. Pradeep. So in healthcare, how do you approach designing packaging for sterile and high-risk environments? And how can design houses help? Because I know we're struggling with it, and we all had a laugh when we found out that the integration between design, brand, packaging design, and product design are really far off, and the worlds need to come together.
Thank you, Bhavika, for giving me this chance to describe these things. So last 17 years, maybe I am working for this pharmaceutical industry in the packaging sector, and mostly I was working in the injectable section. So as Mr. Sir has told, this pharma sector also you can divide into US and domestic. I can tell you if you go beyond that, you can divide it into the dosage forms also. So solid oral dosage form you can design somewhat like that way, but injectable is more regulated. So when it's coming to the injectable market, so the chances how you can reduce this footprint means we need to think about the design perspective. Maybe I can tell this, maybe in my first company where we are producing like ethylene inhaler, all these things. So inhaler, there is a use of actuator that is mainly coming from the HDPE plastic. So actuator is not a, every time patients need to get a new actuator. They can wash it and they can use it. So you need to educate the patients like that way, and you need to develop that market, and the brand players should come together that it can be reusable. So you need not to give every time with one ethylene inhaler, maybe one actuator. So this type of designing where in liquid formulation there may be pourability is there. So people can pour the material in the liquid bottle from the pouch and they can use that one. So design perspective, we need to think how we can sustainable in the carbon footprint. So on that perspective, we need to evaluate our design. Wherever there is a, in pharma sector, there is different type of packaging is required. I can tell you there is injectable product which may be this light sensitive. So for that, we are giving pouches, maybe aluminum foil pouches or something. And again, for branding purpose, we are putting it into the carton with some SBS board. So on this perspective, when I am thinking for the market perspective, many brand is using maybe this aluminum foil, maybe printed pouch. And over that printed pouch, we need to produce one label to get it, recognize what is the batch number, what is the manufacturing expiry, as it is a pharmaceutical product. So where we can reduce those things, it's maybe pouch that cannot be printed because outside there will be a carton that can be easily identifiable, that will be identifiable to the patients. And there may be inside PL is there which is required for the healthcare professional. So by this think process also, by this design perspective also, we can reduce some carbon footprint which will help in the circularity of the material. That's the part.
Thank you so much. And on that note, Samir, how do you address the regional differences in consumer preferences and regulatory requirements while designing for packaging strategies?
Yeah. So I think whenever we are addressing the regional consumer preferences as well as legal requirement, so we are keeping very balanced approach between both to ensure that we have the standardized packaging as well as the packaging also look like a local packagings. So in order to have that, we have considering certain factors. Like first one I can say is the colors. So in packaging, I think colors plays very important roles. And because if you see 60%, the research says that 60 to 70% of the people buy the package basis on the color of the packs also. So, and colors make having very emotional as well as symbolic connection with the people. So it is very essential to understand what local consumer prefer colors, because each colors has the different meaning in different markets. I can give example in US and all, green color they consider for the sustainable eco-friendly packaging. But whereas if it's same green color if you use in Middle East and all, that has a different meaning. Same happen with the orange or red color, where in orange we consider here in India as a prosperous color, but whereas in US they consider as a red or warning flags color. So we have to keep that in mind, and whenever we are designing that for the local, we have to take local inputs. Second factor I think I can say is the pack sizes. So now pack sizes is again is very important factor in terms of, for example, if you consider the US and Canada market, the US consumer are basically prefer to have larger size packs. They prefer to have bigger family-based packs. Whereas if you come to the like India and Indonesia and all, they prefer to have smaller packs. That's why you see these lot of sachets packaging are there. But same thing you will not able to see in the US and Canada market. The sachets or small packs which is having price of 10 rupees and all. Third factor I think I can say is the price plays a very important role. So in FMCG also, maximum some of the like European country, they do not prefer to have like say 5 rupees pack, 10 rupees packs and all. They have the bigger size packs or bigger price packs. But in India and other, let's say South Asia country, we see the packs which is having price point of 5 rupees or price point of 10 rupees are having more sale. So it's a combination that we have to keep considering the local consumer preferences. Third factor I can say is the in terms of legal requirement. Yes, legal requirements are all different in different region. For example, in terms of the Europe market, they follow the European Union regulations. They follow the REACH regulations. Whereas in India, we follow the, for especially food products, we have the FSSAI regulation and all the labeling which we make as per the FSSAI norms. So each market has their local requirement of the labeling. So whenever we design the packaging, we have to consider that factor as well to ensure that the local regulatory we are in compliance. Fourth factor, which I can say, is the material restriction. So a lot of materials are basically restricted in the different regions. For example, in the US, they follow the FDI guidelines to ensure that the packaging material which we use should not transfer any harmful material into products. Whereas in European Union also, they use some certain rules. So that also plays a very important role. One example which I can give also in terms of labeling or regulation, for example, Malaysia, you have to have halal certifications, which is not a requirement in India also. So these regulations as well as the legal requirement are very much different in the different region, and all think we have to decide it basis on that. Fourth important point, I think, in the sustainability approach. Some region, prefer to have the sustainable packaging, and for that they are ready to pay extra more. But in certain regions or certain countries, they prefer to have the lower cost packaging. They do not want to spend much money on the sustainable packaging and all because it is having a higher cost. So that approach also we have to consider the basis on the requirement of local only. And also there is a new norms. For example, in European market, you have to have certain amount of recycle content in your packaging. If it is not there, then there is a higher penalty is there. But in certain markets, it is not there. Like in Vietnam and all that is right now. The laws is not there. So India also it is coming. I think in 2025 onwards. So whenever you are developing any kind of packaging, we have to consider all these factors, and basis on the local requirement, we have to modify the packaging. Having said that, all these factors having a lot of complexity, what we normally suggest is that to do the research first in terms of strategy, to do the research first with the local team, get their inputs, get the cultural understanding, get the customer inputs from their preferences, and then adapt the packaging in color or other elements as per that. Secondly, also, second strategy what we have is we do some moderate designs where we have certain elements are in common, like logos, and certain communication elements are common, whereas rest of the elements we prefer to adapt as per local team convenience, because local team language are different, the norms are different. So that kind of thing they can adopt at their end, and they can just make this packaging. So considering all this, I think this is very challenging task when you decide for the standardization of global based packaging. So normally what we see is that we follow the local as well as global. So there are some global element which we put, and then there are some local element that also being given to the local team preferences. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And market research and cultural studies before designing is something that would really help us right in the beginning. So I think that works across industries. Akshat, I know I face this trouble every day when we're designing for brands and they're asking for sustainable design. So for a sustainable brand like Vegan Day, how do you ensure your packaging aligns with the eco-friendly ethos and values of your company?
Sure. So when we approached this, like my co-panelist said, it's a holistic approach. It's not that we have to look at packaging separately and pricing separately and the other factors that go with it. So there are two ways or two steps in which what we offer is inherently more than 10x sustainable than what's out there. And if that works, and if rest of India and rest of the globe adopts it, then that's what excites us on how this can grow. Now I'll explain those 2 points. The first one is when you compare regular milk and plant-based milk. So I'll talk about the category itself. When we consume, and this is something that I did not study when I was growing up, so I now question our education system as well, that if we don't study too much about what we eat, and we realize all of that later thanks to the growing awareness. Anyway, that's a separate matter. So if you compare plant-based milk and regular milk from a very layman perspective, in your dairy milk, plants are eaten by animals, and then we get the animal product. So there's always this middleman. If you have that middleman, then the efficiency will not be 100% because there'll be some efficiency loss. If you have plants and you make plants milk directly, then that efficiency loss goes away. So that is step number one. And I'll give you an example. This is global average, not Indian average. If you compare 1 liter of regular dairy milk and compare that with 1 liter of any plant milk, now different plant milks have different ratings, but the worst one, the amount of the difference of water consumption is 250 liters. So what that means is, if you replace 1 liter dairy with 1 liter plant-based milk, take almond milk, which is the worst in terms of the water usage, you are saving 250 liters of water right away. So that's your sustainability step number one. So by doing this, of course, it's good for animals, it's good for human health, but from the sustainability point of view, that's a major angle. And what we do is then we take another second step, which increases it by further 10x, because we remove water from the equation. And when the water goes, then your packaging drops, your transportation drops, your storage drops, everything drops. But of course, like it's good, it's easy to say, but in order to ensure that the end customer has the same experience and they love the taste, and of course they love the price because it's lower than everything else, then it's only then, so that's why in this journey it takes longer to innovate. But then if that works, then the satisfaction is also higher. I'll also add one point on, as we were doing this, so for example, we have a small jar, imagine like a peanut butter jar, 500-gram jar, which can make 6 liters of milk, plant milk. And the question was, should this jar be the PET jar, which is what we have right now, or should it be glass? Because a lot of, in today's generation, a lot of people are talking about sustainability and they want to go for natural materials and, pros and cons. So again, when we were doing analysis, it's it feels like glass is more sustainable. But when you break it down, there are some components, and we still don't have a final answer on how we'll kind of go about it. Maybe, some of the stalls that are outside will help me in figuring out that answer. But so I'll do like a quick math here. If you take plastic, you'll probably use it a few times, after which you can't use it because there's a life cycle on how many times you can use it. Whereas technically glass can be used infinite times. But in reality, if a glass breaks, that cycle stops. And two, when you use glass and you package it and you sell it, there's more packaging, there's more weight when glass comes to you, and then it goes from you to the customer. So all that kind of comes into play. Some other factors, more technical factors, not going into that, but it's not that straightforward. You have to look at everything, and ultimately, like the ultimate issue would be if you do glass, then everything is more expensive because it's at least 2x more expensive than PET jars. So I think like we focus more on product solutions that inherently reduce packaging overload by 10x or more. And going forward, we'll be further optimizing on how to even improve on the packaging side so that we can compete with dairy. We can actually survive and grow, and also, be even more sustainable if possible. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. That answers it. A quick follow-up question, and I think a lot of us have this question. How do you educate your consumers or customers of the information you just shared?
Correct. So given this is a new concept, especially just add water as a concept exists because milk powders exist. So as a concept, they kind of understand, but still like 99 or 90% plus milk in India right now is consumed directly, like in the liquid milk format. So the way we are approaching it right now is online first. Because if you go on our website or if you see our ad, then you'll see exactly how to use it and how it looks, feels, all of that, which we can't do on retail shelves right now. So maybe at a later point in time when enough awareness has happened. So it's in the form of our website, it's in the form of our packaging. Like our packaging clearly says at the back that when you switch 200 ml or 1 liter of water, you save these many liters, which is equal to these many times. For example, 250 liters is at least 10 baths. Right? If you don't bathe for 10 days, is equal to switching 1 liter of milk, right? So we have to come up with innovative ways that people understand and put it in packaging and our ads and our website and our social media. That's the way we are approaching. Retail comes much later because it's inherently not intuitive. Like people will just probably take the product and use it as butter instead of adding, right? So that can happen. So hope that answers.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And just to follow that up with Siddharth, since you are doing the packaging and sourcing at Godrej, what are the innovative materials and methods that help us reduce waste and improve recyclability?
Thank you. That's a very important question. So yeah, we took a few steps. Like we have a lot of these good night labels which we use for our bottles. We could see that these labels come with a lot of liner, which is the backing of the label, which is used for a label application. We saw that a lot of these substrates goes into landfill and it creates a lot of wastage in the society. We collaborated with one of the paper mills, and they are using our liners to make tissues. So basically that's upcycling. So this is one of the very innovative things we have done to reduce wastage and reduce landfills. Other innovative things are like we are trying to create a rule book, basically standardizing on what should be used. Like for example, a bottle should be either natural or having a white master batch. Reducing the number of colors helps produce a quality PCR at the recycler's end. Other thing I would like to call out is we are doing some work around improving the product. So traditionally, if you have seen that packaging does 3 primary roles, that is protection, preservation, and presentation. Preservation, I feel with the circularity coming in is also a joint responsibility with the product. Because with a lot of these sustainable laminates and materials coming in, you will see some compromises in the barrier properties of the structures. Like for example, we have hair color. Hair color is a very difficult product. It is very aggressive. It's super sensitive to oxygen. And I cannot remove foil from the laminate. we have tried multiple metallized films, but none of them live up to the expectations what foil can do. So in such cases, we are exploring if the product itself can be worked around, which can reduce or become more oxygen resistant, so that I can replace it with at least a metallized film. So these are some of the areas. So it's like working on the product, working on certain other packaging material. These are few of the innovative ways we are trying to address this. Thank you.
Thank you for that. If you could, okay, there's a mic there, sorry. So, Mr. Manjunath, how does Strides address sustainability? And if you could share an example of functional packaging, we've got a lot of information, but if you could share an example that has helped improve medical adherence in the space.
Yeah, so see, one is that developing of packaging is no one big task for all of us, because considering the current factors of cost saving, cost reduction, or sustainability. Apart from that, functionality is something where plays a major role, where whatever package you develop, if it is not used by the consumer in an appropriate manner, so then there is no use of packaging used for that particular medicinal product. So being in pharmaceutical background, every regulatory has certain regulations which needs to be adhered while designing a packaging. See, for example, if you supply all prescription drug medicines to US market, all these packages needs to be supplied in child resistant and senior friendly packaging. So where the functionality of packaging plays a vital role here, where the medicine has to be accessed by senior citizens or old age people easily, and and it should not be accessed by the children. So it has to work in both the ways. So a child should not access it, while the senior citizens should access easily. That is how, being a packaging domain, packaging scientist, we always apply science and technology while designing packaging in this factor. So what we do generally, we give instructions in the form of labeling on the packaging. So how to open the package by the seniors. So that helps the oldest people to access the medicine easily by following those instructions which are part of labeling. So second, even while you supply the same medication to Europe market, it should have a safety feature. So again, it is one of the most complicated requirement of the packaging, because all your pharmaceutical products which you supply to across Europe Union should adhere both the track and trace mechanism as well as your safety features. So for example, if you take a carton box having a blisters, right, when you supply these packs to Europe market, you need to provide a safety feature like tamper evident stickers on the pack, as well as a track and trace mechanism in order to avoid any spurious drugs presence in the market. So in such way, again, the functionality comes to the picture, where whoever the patients purchase these medicines from the pharmacies should easily access the blisters which are present inside the carton by removing the tamper-evident feature. But see, when you consider regulations and functions, we have one more challenge, whether the features or functionality requirements given on the package, whether it will sustain throughout your transportation. So starting from your manufacturing facility, it travels through various modes of transportation, either road, air, or sea route transportation, and until it reaches to the consumer. After that, whether it will sustain throughout your shelf life of the product of 3 years or 2 years of the medicine. So these are the various factors plays a major role. That's how the packaging technologist plays a major role, that he'll be taking all these factors into consideration and design package in such a way that it will adhere the regulations, it will sustain through transportation, and it will be easy accessible to the patient while opening or accessing the tablet in the package. So these are the various examples. That's how not only the design, even the functionality also plays a major role while designing a package.
Thank you so much. One last question from me, and then we'll open it up to the audience. Mr. Somyanath, can you share a success story where packaging innovation impacted positive patient care?
See, today's scenario, the most interesting part, the requirement is the patient-centric packaging. What is patient-centric packaging? Giving you an example, patient-centric packaging, pre-filled syringe or maybe the pre-filled pen. So you need not to go to the doctor. Patient can directly put the pen. Before that, if you want to take a simple insulin on that, what you have to do? You have to go to the doctor. He will take the things and he will put that. It's a time-consuming, every lot of wastage of money, time, all these things. Now it's a pen cartridge mechanism, patient-centric mechanism. Patient can directly put the insulin on that. The advanced stage of this patient-centric packaging device is that there is a metering device is put on the pen. It will monitor entire things throughout your cycle, how much insulin you have taken and what is the time you have taken the insulin. You need not to go to the doctor. Directly you could scan it and send to the doctor, and doctor will send you the prescription on that, what is on that. So apart from the challenges from the sustainability, pharmaceutical packaging, there is a multiple scope for the working on that. So I've given some example which is practically we have done for our organization. So most of the Indian scenario, most of the blister is the PVC blisters. So PVC blister is not suitable for the environment, all this. So we are working for the sustainable blister, which is PP based or PET based blister. But yes, there is a challenge on that. You need a specific machine on that because the existing machine will not work on the PP blister and plate blister on that. But we need to take on the challenge on that. We have to do all these things to sustain in the environment, all these things. The last thing I am telling you, we are working on the, you might be knowing of the ophthalmic bottles. Ophthalmic bottle, you have to put the preservatives. Because you have to put the preservatives, because you have to keep the product sterile up to 21 days or 29 days. We have developed bottle itself. You have to put the preservatives on that, BKC and something like that. The issues is that once you utilize glaucoma and other product, when you continuously use this eye drop, there is a damaging of this eyes. So we have developed a preservative-free bottles. There is a no BKC into that. Bottle itself a preservatives. It will kill the bacterial things. It is already we have launched in the market. We have patented all these things. So last part in the sustainable packaging, one more thing we should say. We have a product, the Gasofast. It's a basically acidity product. It's a sachet form. 7 years, 8 years back, the consumption of the plastic was huge. So we worked together because the main thing is the packaging is the integral part of the product. You must know what is the quality of the product, what is the requirement of the product. The packaging most of the time, what will happen, either it is a over packaging or maybe the lower packaging. So you have to think the optimized packaging. Optimized packaging does not mean the low quality. Optimized packaging. It's mean you have made the packaging as per the product requirement. So in case of Gasofast, we have analyzed the product that all data we have analyzed on it. Also, it's a very sensitive product. We understand that this product not require that much of packaging. You can optimize the packaging. So optimize the packaging. We have saved 8.5 crore yearly. These products. These are a few of the example on that.
Thank you so much for that example. And with that, thank you to all our panelists for sharing the invaluable insights. And I'd like to open it up to the audience. Any questions? Can we have?
Hi, I would like to understand from all the packaging experts here, the context of GRS certified material in context of India and the kind of premium or focus that you are giving to your converters and their material used?
Would anyone like to take it specifically? I think the question's not clear. Can we have it again?
So when a converter converts plastic granules into products, more predominantly into the packaging products like containers, there is a norm for the European markets where GRS, Global Recycling Standards material is to be used. In that context, what is the kind of focus that you're giving in the Indian context and the kind of premium and focus that you are allowing your converters, if at all you're using that kind of material?
Yeah, so if I'm not wrong, you're talking about export market. Is it correct? Yeah, Europe market, right?
So GRS right now has been used to the European content. Are we going to follow, or are we following it right now in the Indian content?
Yeah, so see, as sustainability is the biggest factor with respect to, since you're talking about plastics, right? So we are not at all addressing that because we need to adhere, the Europe regulations as such. No, we are not giving any kind of modification, the specification to the converters. So you need to follow the current regulations without any modifications. Within ourselves, in the manufacturing site, what we are doing at, we are initiating various sustainability initiatives, right? For example, as he clearly mentioned about a sachet pack. In the same way, in bottle pack, we did many initiatives, reducing the thickness of the bottle, reducing headspace inside the bottle. For example, you can see here, this bottle, you don't find any gap. It is completely filled. So the same approach even we are applying for our pharmaceutical drug product, wherever we identify that there is excess gap which is really is not required. So excess gap again, right? So there is a presence of moisture which directly impacts your drug product. So we are not at all touching or amending any regulations for now from pharmaceutical industry, because which is not allowed by your European authorities. Within the existing packaging, we are coming with different kinds of approaches, bringing right design, optimizing packaging usage, reducing plastic usage. So these are the different kinds of initiatives as part of sustainability has been initiated by pharma industries. So for I think
just adding on your point, see, in pharmaceutical products, you need to comply the regulation. Suppose if you want to do the sterile product, behalf of this, what you have used in their resin, you have to sterility, you have to do the sterility, extractable leachable part. If it is extractable leachable part is not complying on this is extractable leachable part totally contribute to the packaging part. So if something goes wrong from the any extraction and leach is come to the product, it's a completely blame goes to the packaging on that. So these are the things we need to be very, very careful on that. Even in the solid oral dosage product, suppose in the bottles, there is a US guideline 661.2. So these guidelines are clearly mentioning what is the iron content, what is the lead content, what is the other content, all these things. Even what's the phthalate content, all these things. So you have to do all these tests before utilize this product, and it should be the part of your specification. It will be the part of your packaging specification, not that you directly take the material and directly use it. See, all the specification to be done before utilize the products.
So on this context, actually, I just want to add that it's along with this, what he has told, this extractable leachable studies, there is impurities also coming into the pictures when we are packaging injectable materials or which is directly going to our blood streams. So in all over the world, last 2-3 years, there is a huge discussion regarding the nitrosamide impurities. We have to, whatever product in the market, for that also there is some regulation into the picture for the nitrosamide impurities. We need to check that what is the percentage of the nitrosamide impurities over that product. And when you are talking about with some new composition or new things, that industry is coming up with all these checkpoints, like what with this new material, what is the impurities, what is the percentage of the impurities, because these nitrosamide impurities are everywhere. Whatever we are taking in daily basis, there also nitrosamide is there, but there is certain limit. So from product to product also, whenever you are approaching towards any new formulation or something, so that percentage, whether it will exceed as per regulatory bodies or not, that should be established. And this establishment and all these things is required some time frame. So that time frames actually we are going in the Indian pharmaceutical industries. So maybe some big player, they have some big goals like 2025-26, they will come up with the 100% sustainable approach. I know those big brand name, but I cannot tell over this audience. But maybe that will follow others people. So you can see maybe in next 5 to 10 years, some types of monopolymer we are using, because day in and day out, we are also searching for that where this characterization is not required there, where we can use monopolymer, how we can also support this sustainable journey.
Thank you for that. I hope that answered the question. We can move to the next question.
Hi, morning. Thank you, everyone. I have a little out of the box question, of course, addressing what Akshat said about taking the right choice about which kind of packaging to use. You all are packaging experts. My question is on a consumer level. You know, having worked in pharma, I was in Sanofi, and now driving an FMCG. The consumer decides, right? Today you said, should we go in for a glass packaging or should we go in for a plastic, PET, whatever is it, PET, PP, whatever might it be. Similarly, Mankind, Godrej, consumers. Now, where do you think is the tipping point? For example, if you look at Europe, packaging has become naked. If you go to main health food stores, they're all going for naked packaging. India, we are focusing on colors, brand. You know, I mean, there's so many brands. If you go to a retail store, it's basically like a confusion, you know, for a consumer. So everybody is trying to create a brand identity. And in that, the buzzword about sustainability, you know, it's a buzz. But practical application of sustainable materials, practical application, when and where do you think is going to be the tipping point, and who's going to be the driver for this? Is it going to be e-com space? Is it going to be retail? Is it going to be someone in the pharma space? Like, how and when do you think this change is going to happen?
Answer to your question, see, in the pharma packaging, it's a doctor choice. Because when doctor prescribe a medicine and a drug, there is no choice. You have to take that pack only and you have to use it. But when you go to the FMCG product, it's a customer choice. When it is a customer choice, nowadays scenario, customer is very intelligent on that. So they see all these things. It's the customer-centric packaging, looks and aesthetically how it is looked at. They can be easily carried out on that. Even after using 1 or 2 times, the product is breakable or not. So there is a multiple factor is looking after by the customer. Once upon a time, packaging was rolled to content of the products. So the scenario has been changed now. The packaging, it's described about the products. What is this? What is the content of this product? Now the question is that who the sustainable packaging, very, very genuinely you have taken. It's so far sustainable packaging has not grow up in India that much. But the good thing is that the India is the most recyclable packaging material, use the recycled product. But not that all they are using in the food and pharma product, they are using in the oil sectors, maybe in the road factors, maybe in the homemade all these things, they are using all that. But still the two sensitive area, that is in food and pharma. Government is still is very, very rigid on that to use the recycle of the packaging material and sustainable packaging material on that.
I can just add a couple of points to that from the brand side, from the consumer-focused brand. Like for us personally at Vegan Day, we are very rigid on our core mission, which is to replace as much as dairy as possible or replace animal foods with plant foods. On everything else, we are generally flexible. Inherently, we are already sustainable, right? Now, flexibility comes from a point of view of how the world is evolving, right? Like 5 years ago, probably people had no idea and there were no options. And today, vegan market is going pretty fast. And these trends and then the customer awareness and all of that is evolving. So it's like the co-panelist said, it's a balance of pricing plus what the customer wants, what the customer says that he or she wants, and what the customer actually does in terms of paying or not. Very different things, to be honest. And then does it work with pricing? Does it work with sustainability? Does it work with our shelf life? Does it work with the final experience? Like you can have the best sustainable answer, but the end experience is not great. So there's no, we're not rigid that we have to do this by this time. We are rigid on a few things, which is our mission, but how to achieve, we don't have like strong viewpoints. And the answer keeps evolving. As long as we are, generally not doing anything that is harmful for the nature. Anyway, inherently what we are doing is quite good for the planet, the health and all of that. That's why we are not obsessing on that, if that answers the question.
Sorry to cut this a bit short, but I think to keep with time, the panelists are around. You can address a few questions to them later. And to conclude, and one key takeaway, and I think it also answers the last question, I think it's a lot about collaboration and how the industries need to come together. Thank you for being a fabulous audience. Thank you to all our panelists, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day.